Hey guys, it's Aiden here making another video. Today I want to talk about the process of reintegration after psychosis. I'm going to talk about my experience, and what that is basically the process of going from a delusional worldview back to a normal consensus reality worldview. So let's get into it. Welcome to another video, guys. Today I'm going to be talking about the reintegration process after psychosis, my experience with it, why it's an important process after experiencing something like psychosis. But before I will get into this content, I just want to briefly say sort of why I'm making videos like this and why I sort of have this channel. When I was going through my experiences, I didn't really find a lot of resources peer-to-peer. I was fortunate to have a lot of support from counselors and my parents, but there's not a whole lot of resources out there for faces from people who have experienced these experiences before. So my hope is that by me sharing my experiences, it'll help people to feel like they're not alone and help people feel like there's other people who have gotten better. So that's sort of why I make this channel. If you want to check out my other videos, I have some videos about my psychosis experience, and I plan on making more videos about psychosis in general and the different aspects of it, the challenges, sort of the takeaways and things like that. So be sure to stay tuned. So go ahead and subscribe if that's something you're interested in. So reintegration after psychosis, what is it? Basically what it is the process of moving from a delusional world state, sort of in a psychosis worldview, back into sort of a normal consensus reality, or what like most people would consider as like normal parameters of functioning would be. And so that process can be very tricky. It can take a lot of time. And so that's why I'm making a video about it, because it's a hard process. My experience with it and why it's so important is because when you're stuck in this worldview, it keeps you kind of trapped in the paradigm of delusions and conjectures and things like that aren't really basically congruent with how reality is. And so it makes us so we're not able to function. It makes relationships difficult, and it just keeps us kind of trapped in cycles. And the process of moving from sort of delusions and things like that, and one of the delusions that I had, for example, was that when I played the trumpet, I was awakening the world. That's one of many, many, many delusions I had. You know, when you're in a psychosis, those things are truth. Those things are real. It feels real. It's like visceral feeling that like this is truth. But the reason that those are true for that person is a combination of things from my experience. One is because the feedback loop is gone. So nothing that people say, none of the input that people give to a person in psychosis is going to change their opinion, change their worldview, because that connection is gone. The only feedback loop that they have is within themselves. So everything that they see is an interpretation or a metaphor for something else. They don't really receive information. They perceive different patterns, and then they transform that into their own sort of experience and projection. And so part of the process of reintegration is changing that relationship and becoming more in connection with the feedback loop that's around us. And so that process takes time, but it also takes effort as well, I've found. So I think one of the key components of coming out of that delusional worldview is coming out of the psychosis to begin with, because I think that psychosis is a state of consciousness, a state of being. And so while we're in that state, there's a lot of strong emotions and strong feelings that sort of reinforce these ideas, these revelations, these understandings that we perceive that we have, or that I have. I don't want to say we, because I can't speak for everybody. And so when I had these strong emotions and feelings, it made those feel true, made them feel real. And maybe on some level those things are true, but for the sake of living in this world, it's not necessarily practical to hold those views strongly, especially during the process of reintegration. once everything has been sort of reintegrated and someone's strongly rooted in their experience, they can sort of look back and see what they want to keep from their experience and what they want to get rid of. But the key with reintegration is just getting back on the ground, back to a sort of consensus reality worldview. And so, back to my point, there's a process that's internal, and then there's a process that just takes time. So coming out of the psychosis is like the first step, I think. Once those strong emotions are gone, then it's just the thoughts, the delusional thoughts, the psychotic kind of thoughts. And so working with those, there's kind of a choice. So when you don't have those strong emotions, you can choose to evaluate those thoughts, those perceptions. So for example, if I'm playing the trumpet and I'm playing and I'm not seeing any change, I'm not seeing any awakening. Maybe I feel the awakening sort of happening a little bit, but it's not palpable, and I might start to doubt that thought or that belief. And so that's sort of the beginning of the process. It's like, okay, well, is this real? And what helps with that, honestly, what helped me with that is the feedback from other people. So as I became more aware of the feedback loop instead of just being stuck in my own worldview, then I was able to reevaluate, because I saw the reactions of some of the people when I would do something or when I would say something that wasn't congruent with the worldview that most people hold, or like the structures of like, this makes sense and this doesn't make sense. Then I was sort of able to reevaluate some of those beliefs, some of those structures that I had formed over the course of my psychosis. So it took a lot of times for me to do the same thing over and over again. So if I played the trumpet trying to awaken people, I did it like maybe 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Each time I did that, I would get a reaction from my parents to be like, oh, like, what are you doing? Like, they'd ask me questions like, where's that world? Where did that come from? Like, what do you, they would sort of question sort of my beliefs. They wouldn't like, grill me with questions. But I'm going to make a video, I think, at some point about what to do when someone's in a psychosis from a caretaker's point of view. Not like medical advice, like what to do, but sort of like things that helped me with people around me, and then what was not so helpful with people around me when I was going through that psychosis experience. Because I know there's a lot of family members who are probably wondering what to do, or friends. So basically that feedback loop sort of helped me to reevaluate that thought pattern. But there's a lot of sort of reevaluation myself, and I chose at some point to be like, okay, this is something I need to do. I need to ground myself. And as I talked with some of my counselors, they were really helpful to help me understand that I just need to ground myself and focus on sort of reevaluating some of my worldviews and trying to find what's real and find what doesn't really fit in the sort of reality of what's actually happening. And so that takes a long process, a long time. And I would say it probably took me 2 or 3 years to go through some of those worldviews and go through some of that trimming process of understanding, like, this is a real thought or perception, and then this is not a real thought or perception, based on what feedback I'm getting from the world. So a lot of it is the feedback, because that's how we determine what's real or not in the world. Like from a baby up to the point where we're an adult, everything's based off experience. So we just had an experience where everything was true, so we basically have to relearn everything over again, but with new experiences that maybe contradict some of the experiences that we had in a previous state of existence or a previous state of understanding or of experience. So it's like we have to recondition ourselves. It's like, well, this is true when we were over here, but now we're here again, and like maybe those things don't apply in this state of being. So it can be a confusing and difficult process. And a lot of people mention that some of psychosis is like equated with like spiritual awakening and stuff like that. And there are some things that I still hold today that I think are true that I learned from my psychosis experiences. And that's something I plan on talking about in a future video. But for the sake of recovery, the main focus that was helpful for me was to just focus on grounding and not focusing on what was true from the experiences or what was spiritual from the experiences, because that got me a lot of times stuck back into that worldview of feeling special, of feeling like I'm different, of feeling like I'm sort of an awakened person versus someone else, and that can be sort of confusing and keep me in a state of delusion, so to speak. So coming back to the ground and then afterwards evaluating those thoughts and beliefs, I found was more helpful for me. But you have to decide what's helpful for you, and make sure you talk to your provider about anything regarding that. Again, I'm not a medical professional. This is just my experience. So that's pretty much my experience from the reintegration process. Like I said, it took me about 2 to 3 years, so it took a long time. But just know that it's possible, and it's possible to sort of return to a normal kind of state. It just takes a while. Again, you've experienced some things that you experienced were true, and now you have to re-experience them as different things and figure out if that's still true or not based on your experiences you're having in a new, different state. So it's a difficult process, but it can be done. It has been done, and maybe you can do it too. All right, and that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more videos by me, make sure to subscribe, and feel free to let me know of any future videos you'd like to see. So as always, guys, make sure to seek your truth and to take time for yourself, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.